Hello shooters, this is the first edition of Tire Iron Goes to School. I love to learn. And when I learn stuff, I like to share it with folks. I like to share it with my students, I like to share it with you guys on YouTube. And as a result of my Man vs. Gun series, there's a couple guys that showed me the error of my ways and took me to school, and I really appreciate it because I learned the correct terminology. Marco T500 Yonker and Gun Fun ZS. They both showed me the error of my ways when it came to terminology I was using for muzzle devices. So this video is going to be about muzzle devices. I'm going to use my Safe Queen AK as the demonstrator today. There's a couple reasons why people use muzzle devices, because there's a couple things that we try and, one for sure that I try and get rid of is flash. And so there's such thing as flash suppressors and flash hiders. Those aren't the same thing. Flash suppressors use a mechanical means, prongs, and I'll show you how these work. They use prongs to make the gas break up so it doesn't bloom into a big flash. Flash hiders does exactly that. It's like a sound suppressor, what some people call silencers. Those are also flash hiders. They don't do anything to break up the flash. What they do is they completely hide the flash. Unless you're using a sound suppressor, a flash hider is usually a long and flash hiders don't work so well unless it's a suppressor. So that's why there's flash suppressors. And the other reason people put muzzle devices on their muzzles is to mitigate the effects of recoil. Newton's third law. When we pull the trigger on this thing and we touch off the primer, there's an explosion that happens here in the chamber. And then the bullet starts going down the bore. As soon as the bullet starts going down the bore, there's an equal and opposite force going this direction, going in the rearward direction. That's called recoil. Some people call it kick. So there's other muzzle devices that can help mitigate what happens when a rifle kicks or when recoil happens. And here's what happens. See, if you have this in a vise and you shoot it, there's going to be no effect of recoil. It can stay right there and the bullet's going to go out the barrel, nothing else. But since we're human, and because of how we hold rifles, the rifle will do things that we don't necessarily want when we touch off a round. So when I'm just standing here, if I put a rifle here in my shoulder, it's going to want to push me back like this, but it's also going to want to twist my shoulder. Okay, so the muzzle the barrel can come straight back, but it's also going to climb, because you notice what my shoulder does, and my shoulder twists at the same time. So actually, we have a climb and to the right when I'm shooting right-handed, and there's going to be a climb and to the left when I'm shooting left-handed. And there's different muzzle devices that can help mitigate one or both of those. They're called muzzle brakes and compensators. And I've been using the terms incorrectly. And so I've done some studying on the matter. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go over a bunch of little, compensators, muzzle brakes, and flash suppressors, and hybrids that try and do all three or try and do two out of the three. We'll discuss how they work. Because when you look on the internet, or you go to a gun store, or you even look at manufacturer stuff, they don't call them what they really are. Anywhere you look on the internet and you find that little slant on an AKM or an AK-47, 99 times out of 100 they're going to call it a slant brake. It's not a brake, it's a compensator. So you can't trust what you find in the stores, you can't trust what you see on the internet stores. I'll show you what to look for if you're looking for a brake or a comp or a hybrid. Hopefully you enjoy it. I enjoyed learning it. I hope you enjoy learning what I had to present here today. And so we'll go into looking at each type. Okay, the first device we're going to talk about is a flash suppressor, a pure flash suppressor. And a pure flash suppressor has equidistant slots, or here's a different flash suppressor. Still has equidistant slots. They may be open, they may be closed, but there's no, all the slots are open. There's no area where the slots are closed. So what this is strictly designed to do is to mitigate the effects of flash. When the hot gases come out, these prongs here, or these slots here, they allow the gas to break up in a way such that they won't ignite and turn into flash. So these are flash suppressors. Flash hiders are a whole nother issue. Flash hiders attempt to hide the flash, like a sound suppressor is also a flash hider. It hides the flash, it doesn't break it up. Flash suppressors break up the gases so that it doesn't have a chance to ignite. So that's what a flash suppressor is. Then a compensator. The compensator found on the end of an AK is the purest form of a compensator that I have and that I could find quickly. The way that it's designed is so when the gases come out of the muzzle here, they press down on that part there, and that keeps the muzzle rise down. And that's what a compensator does, is to combat the effects of muzzle rise or muzzle climb. They also call it muzzle climb. Now, people that make these, people that market these, people that sell these, of all types of muzzle devices, many of them get it really, really, really wrong. All over the internet, you'll see this called AK slant brake, a slant brake. Slant, you can easily see why they call it a slant, because it's slanted. But it is in no way, shape, or form a brake. It does absolutely nothing to mitigate the rifle coming back. All it does is mitigate the rifle from rising. So this is a pure comp. It's not a brake. Not a brake at all. It's a pure comp. There's no flash suppression. There's no breaking of the there's no breaking of the muzzle coming back. This is strictly to stop muzzle rise. And then there's a whole bunch of different hybrids on the market. This is a hybrid flash suppressor. See, it's got the equidistant. This comes off an M16A2. This is what a lot of you, when you buy your AR or your M4, whatever, that's going to come with one of these. Equidistant slats, except for these ones on the bottom are closed. They're not there. So these help mitigate the flash. These slots do. The gases come up and it breaks them up so they don't turn into a fireball. But then this closed portion down here is a compensator, just like this slant brake. See, I made the mistake right there. This is a slant comp. This is a flash suppressor. You put the two together and you have your A2 flash suppressor compensator. No brake, no braking at all. Flash suppressor, muzzle comp, flash suppressor, muzzle comp hybrid. And then here's this is I don't know if it's made in China or made here in the US or somewhere. This is a loose replica of the Russian AK-74 muzzle brake. This would be a pure brake with the exception of these holes. If these holes weren't there, if they're plugged up, this would be a brake. And a brake is best exemplified by these flat surfaces that you see right here. A flat surface for the gases to come and hit against to stop the muzzle from coming backwards. There's a flat face internally, and then there's a flat face here. So this is two flat faces are what comprise this muzzle brake. Now, because you have these ports here where gas is able to come straight up, this also has a little bit of a compensator feature that's supposed to help keep the muzzle from rising. So this helps keep the muzzle from coming back, and a little teeny bit to help it keep it from rising. Notice that these are the exact same width. So there's very little compensating going on here. This is almost all a brake. And these little gas ports here you see in the side, strictly designed as a brake, nothing else. These two little holes is all that makes this a hybrid brake compensator. Otherwise, without those holes, it'd be a pure brake, muzzle brake. So let's look at the Russian unit. This is a zigzag, because it has these little zigzags in there, zigzag design or whatever. But as you can see, this is much more of a hybrid of a compensator and a brake. the brake because you have this flat surface here and you got the flat surface on the inside, and a compensator because you got this big flat part down there. So this flat face here and the flat face in there is designed to stop the gun from coming straight back, and that flat face there versus that skinny space there is designed to help keep the muzzle down instead of rising. So this Russian AK-74 compensator brake is a hybrid. This is a popular one. This is the FSC-47. This is a combination of all three. We have these flat faces here and this flat face here to act as a muzzle brake from it coming back. You've also got this part here that's wider than the top. See, the top is skinny, the bottom is fatter, so that gives you your compensator. So these flat faces here act as a brake to stop the muzzle from coming back. That fatter piece down there, wider piece down there, stop the muzzle from rising. And then these three prongs are designed to help break up muzzle flash. So it's a flash suppressor, muzzle brake, compensator. Now when you do have hybrids where it's trying to do all three things at once, it won't do any of the three really well. Okay, the best flash suppressors are the ones that are strictly flash suppressors. This compensator works really well strictly as a compensator. This muzzle brake compensator and this muzzle brake compensator won't do any flash suppression. In fact, they'll increase the flash. This will somewhat decrease the flash, will somewhat act as a muzzle brake, and will somewhat act as a compensator. It'll act more of a compensator than it will a muzzle brake, and it'll act less like a flash suppressor than anything. You'll still have some flash available with this. Another hybrid is this type here. This is a muzzle brake because of these holes here and because of that flat face there, and it's a compensator because of these holes here and those holes there. So this is a muzzle brake compensator, no flash suppression whatsoever. Here is a muzzle brake flash suppressor compensator. Muzzle brake, you got this big flat face right there. The compensator, you got this wider part down here than up here, and then the three-prong flash suppressor. Again, like this, it won't do any of the three really well, but it'll do a little bit of all the three. You've got your brake, you got your comp, and you've got your flash suppressor there. So let's try and use proper terminology. I know I'm gonna try and do that for myself in the future. I was happy to learn this. You know, some of this is too nerdy for some of you guys. That's okay, but I'm fascinated by all things firearms, and so I was really happy to learn the difference between a flash suppressor, a compensator, and a muzzle brake, and all the hybrids. So you really can't trust what you see with people trying to sell these. You got to look at them yourself and decide if it's a flash suppressor, a compensator, or a muzzle brake, or if it's some kind of hybrid. Which most things, besides just pure flash suppressors, most things are going to be a hybrid. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time.